And on to other news, which is rather sad. A South African man was shot in Hawaii over the weekend. He was known as Lindani Myeni and he was from KZN. He was a rugby player and he was shot by the police on Wednesday last week. And apparently the whole scenario was created after the police responded to a burglary. And when they arrived, a scuffle ensued and Myeni was shot 4 times. But over the weekend, the police finally released the body cam footage from that particular incident. And of course, it's not safe for work or for children or for sensitive people, but here it is.
And then you're going to take the...
Where he went? Where he went? Where he went? Where? Well, he's... Get on the ground, no! Get on the ground! Get on the ground, no! Get on the ground! Get on the ground, no! Shoot him! Police! Taser! 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 Taser!
And there are a few things that stand out to me. Like, I'm not an expert on police procedure. I'm not an expert on what they're allowed to do or not allowed to do. But there seems to be a case where Myeni seems to be rather aggressive. Later on, I'll show you what the lawyer says. The lawyer says, well, basically the police arrived without any sort of announcement. They didn't say that they were the police. They shone a light in his face. He didn't know who they were. Maybe he was being mugged himself and he was actually just defending himself against these police officers who didn't announce their arrival. But early on in the video, you can hear someone says they're trying to rob a car, they're trying to steal a car. There he is, that's him, and that woman is rather hysterical. The police officer turns around and he says, hands on the ground, and instead of doing that, Myeni lunges at him and tackles him to the ground. And when you see the body cam from the other police officer, he says, taser, taser. He tases Myeni, but he also gets knocked over by Myeni. And after the taser fails, then they actually shoot him and put him down permanently. As I said, I'm not an expert on these things, but I think if you hear, get on the ground, hands up, one can assume that it is the police. Why would you want to attack a police officer in these circumstances? Is it true they didn't announce themselves? Is it true that Myeni was trying to burgle or trying to rob a car? Unfortunately, the footage that we have doesn't answer any of those questions. I'm not saying he deserves to be shot or not. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is it's a lot more complicated than what the body cam footage actually shows. Because as far as I know, if a police officer feels that their life is in danger, they can retaliate with deadly force. And Myeni knocked over 2 police officers. Were their lives in danger? Maybe. But there doesn't seem to be a retreat from either party, so the police officers used deadly force when they felt compelled to do so. But to get a view from the other side, here is Myeni's lawyer.
Distinguish for me an assault by thugs from what happened here. How? How is an untrained person supposed to tell the difference between a police officer who does not announce himself, shines a light in your face with no backlighting, and yells, "Get on the ground"? He was a good man who is now dead because the HPD didn't train their officers correctly.
Once again, I'm not an expert. I don't know if the police have to really say who they are when they arrive at a scene. I don't know. We will see where this goes. I mean, it's not as obvious as it appears. Like, these police shootings tend to be very, very complicated. As for the police chief, he praised his officers and said they acted with extreme bravery and he was very proud of how they behaved. And he's quoted as saying, they were in the fight for their lives. Let me be clear with you, and as a result, they did very well. They were very brave. They fought for their lives. I'm very impressed by what they did. They didn't shoot or discharge the firearm right away. This is not a case of overreaction. No doubt there'll have to be a formal investigation. Maybe some sort of grand jury will look at the evidence and decide whether these police officers should be up for murder or not. I have my doubts about that. Solely for the fact that Mieni was advancing to them and assaulted 2 police officers before he was shot. And if I'm correct, that might be seen as sort of assault GBV, or this could be seen as direct assault on the police and they had every right to defend themselves. But the fact that they didn't fire straight away, they tried to use their tasers once or twice, that also goes in their favour. But without a full set of facts, of course, all we can do is speculate. It's sad that a South African has to be shot overseas in this manner. And hopefully there'll be a full investigation and we can actually find out what the hell actually happened.